Alright guys, so this is a training video. It's not going to be perfect. I'm working as we speak. Angela, I guess the other video that I sent you had no sound, so this should be good. So this is the Truckstop load board, what we mainly use to find cargo for our for our Hotshot trailers. In this case, it's a 40-foot trailer. CDL max scale or max weight that we can carry is 13,000 pounds. 13,000 pounds. Okay. Trailer is 40 foot. The width on on the flatbed Hotshot is 8 foot. 40 foot long, 8 foot wide. Okay, so this is the way that I have it set up when it comes to the desktop, right? You already know that that the um, the mobile version is different, right? As far as when you search, the parameters that you put to search, they stay the same. It won't look like this, right? So right here, just to give you a rundown, rate per mile. In this case, it's 59 cents a mile. How do you get the rate per mile? You divide the rate by the distance. This is the total distance of the lane from Elgin, Illinois to Lubbock, Texas. 1,185 miles. Sometimes it's off. Check on Google. If it's really off, then you could probably negotiate the price. Okay. Um, so rate per mile, this is the rate, this is the distance. Pick up for 11 to 14. When you click on it, it might give you more time. It could be like you could pick up on the 14th or the 15th, right? Or maybe somewhere in between. Updated, I always keep it on updated for the fact that any hot cargo that comes out will come out on top. But you could definitely put it to length, you know, from longest to least longest, and weights and origin deadhead, whatever you want, right? But I keep it on updated. Um, the length, the weight, and you can move these. You can move the width on these to make space. Right now I'm using my laptop computer, so it's a small screen. But when I move it to my other screen, right, which makes me view everything, I can see absolutely everything on this cargo without having to click on it, right? You got the weight, you got the origin deadhead. So in this case, the driver's in Cleveland, right? I have a 300-mile radius. This load is 384 miles from Cleveland, right? We want to keep it. We want to keep it, you know, for a good load. If we're empty, in this case it was probably like 350 miles away. We had space on the trailer, so I know I'm going to be able to load something else. The trailer was empty, so it's not going to hurt us too much. And the rate on this partial load that we picked up today was good. So right now we have room for more. In this case, it's 20 feet, 3,500 pounds. Origin city, Elgin. Origin state, Illinois. Destination city, Lubbock. And destination state, Texas. This mode will tell you what kind of load it is. If it's a full load, it'll be TL. If it's a partial load, it'll be PTL. Right? Equipment Hotshot FSD, will go into that right now. And you know, company, you're going to be able to see the company on the screen. You're going to get used to the companies that that we don't have a contract with. You're going to get used to seeing the companies that don't have factoring. So yeah, looking at the company is definitely good, because you won't. It's just another way of not wasting your time. Why are you going to click on that load? Why are you going to inquire if you know we can't work with them, right? And then you got the load views and all that. If it's a really good load and it says high on it, more than likely it's already booked. You know what I mean? Again, doesn't hurt to try. It's a quick 1 minute phone call. All right. So, well, again, the mobile is different than this, but to start to look for a load, right, you need to set your parameters right. In the case, you're going to set the date, right, the 14th to the 15th, right? But it won't come out like that at first. Let's just say we click on here. We're going to click on add. We're going to do the same lane, Cleveland, Ohio. We're going to put a radius of 250. Now 350, yesterday we were empty at Thursday morning. I know we had time to travel just in case there was a load that was far away. And, this was usually on Thursdays and Fridays, we load up for the weekend, right? We want to be empty by Thursday so we have that time to load up as much as we can so we could travel over the weekend and drop these off on Monday, Tuesday, right? Um, in the case of Cleveland, we're running out of time, so maybe I want to change this to 200-mile radius. You never know. Somebody might want to load up late, right? But in the case of yesterday, I wouldn't have found the other load that was playing really good and it was just half the trailer. I put 350 and the load was actually 350 miles away. And what do you call it? In the case that I would have put 250, I wouldn't have seen it, right? And so I'm glad I did. And that's where it helps you out. But if it's a Friday and you have a partial on board, you already picked up. You have half the day. I mean, you're not gonna make it to go pick up a partial load for 350. It's not gonna be paying much either. So right now I feel good just putting 200-mile radius, just in case there's a late pickup. Max weight that we have left, or the max trailer would be 13,000 pounds. The max weight right now with something on board is 3,500 pounds. The max length of the trailer is 40, but right now we have 20 feet to spare in the front. Again, you have the pickup date. You're gonna set the pickup date, right? 14th to 15th. Again, I'm on my little screen on the laptop, so it won't show everything. But yeah, 14th to 15th, and then press OK. You got everything to go here. Everything's ready to go. Now the equipment, right? The equipment. So these are the ones that I always have. Now I do have other trucks that I work with, or I did, right? Um, and other companies that I work with. Now, in the case of this driver, he does not want over dimension loads, and so I mean, even though I'm not looking for it for him, I might be looking for an over dimension load, or a lower dimension load might come out for another company, so I just give it up. But you really don't need it. You know what I mean? You really don't need it. Clicked on. So that's the only one in question. But right now we'll start with what I do have selected. I got flatbed. Now flatbed can either be flatbed hotshot, or it could be a flatbed that can run up to 52 feet, 48 to 52 feet. Don't quote me on that. I might be wrong, but definitely 48, right? 48 feet flatbed. And that's different than us, so that's what you also have to say. I got a hotshot flatbed. Hotshot flatbed. Okay, and so sometimes the loads that say F on it, we won't be able to take it, but it doesn't hurt to ask. You know, it's happened more times than not that they say, oh yeah, Hotshot can take this. This is FO. I have this selected there, flatbed over dimension. Like I said, if he can't take it and I have somebody else in their area, they might be able to take it. When it's a flatbed over dimension load, more than likely they will require permits. They'll pay more for that, or they won't. So yeah, I mean, like I said, this driver won't, so you won't have to worry about that. You can leave this clicked off if you want. Flatbed or step deck, again, flatbed, it could be a flatbed hotshot, or it could be a regular flatbed, or a step deck, which is totally different, right? But again, I leave it clicked on because it doesn't hurt to ask. Sometimes they'll put that, but a hotshot will be able to take it. So I leave that clicked on, and then of course hotshot. That would be us. And then we got step deck. Again, you already know the deal with step deck. Sometimes a step deck, a hotshot flatbed will be able to take. We'll be able to take the a step deck load, right? And now SDL. This is important, right? Because it says step deck with loading ramps. Now there is no other option to select, a load with loading ramps, but just this one. I'll double check again to see if they changed that, but no, I see that they haven't, right? So, step deck with loading ramps, if it's a vehicle, if it's a tractor, if it's a forklift, they're going to usually put it under SDL. Sometimes they will, sometimes they won't, but if you see SDL, you know that it's something that needs to go on the trailer with ramps and unload with ramps. So they'll put it under SDL, so now you know. And like I said, I don't know. I don't see any other, any other selection that you can make in regards to hotshots with ramps. It's just this one, so leave that one selected. And that's pretty much it. So like I said, you don't really need this one with your driver, the over dimension one. he doesn't want to take it, so you can leave that clicked on. It's just me. I have different clients, and that's why I always leave it selected. Okay, so that's pretty much it. And now we're gonna switch to map. It's gonna leave the same information. We're gonna switch to map. Right now, I'll show you what this looks like. Right now, it's showing, you know, the darker states, the darker blue states are the ones that have more loads going to from your location, right? So from your radius, there's plenty of loads that go into Ohio. You can see that plenty of loads that are going to Florida. We don't go to Florida, by the way. You know, so loads going to Georgia. But we're going to Texas only. We got two drops. We got one in Dallas and one in Houston. Definitely want to study Google. Google Maps is going to be your best friend, so you can see where, sometimes, you need to see right away where the load is going or where you're going so that you want to be around that area. We usually want to be ideally, maybe like an hour and a half. I mean, if it's right there at the same place we're delivering, perfect, right? That can't get any more perfect than that. But you usually want to keep it like an hour in between drop-offs, an hour and a half, 2 hours, Once you're going over 3 hours, you need to consider, your other deliveries if you have any. So then we're going to select Texas in this case. And just, to jump ahead from when we train in person on the weekend, we want to stay from here to this way. We don't really go up here, right? So, but usually we want to search for loads. Let's just say we're empty in Texas, right? We want to search for loads up here, right here, all this place, and there's some that we.
Airflow is the best way to stay connected while you travel. With their eSIM app, you can download and install digital data.
Sorry about that. And so we want to stay on this side of the United States. We don't go to California or any of these other states on the west side. So we want to stick to this side, right? We want to stick to this side of the United States. And there's some that we need to exclude, and I'll let you know what those are, right? In this case, it's Texas. And let's see, we got 3,500 pounds. Cleveland, Ohio, 200 miles. And you see, like right there, it says one load, right? One load. So we're going to go ahead and open that up. 200 miles. I mean, it's going to be a long shot. We still have to give it a few hours. He's going to be traveling over the weekend. We might get lucky. But, at a 300-mile distance, which, the way they're paying, it doesn't really make sense to go that way. We're going to, well, let's just say it's 300 miles. It's paying $800 going to Laredo. We're gonna use probably like $300 getting over there in fuel to fuel up. It's got to make sense. It's already paying 45 cents a mile. Come on, So I had that option open just in case, right? We finish early. Maybe it's on the way down. Maybe it's on the way down, which is ideal, right? Because we're going to Texas. If it's going on the way to Texas, and let's just say they say, yeah, you can pick up on Saturday too. Well, fuck it. We'll be on our way. We'll pick it up tomorrow. And so that's why I put 300 miles. In this case, 200 miles narrows it down to only 3 loads. Two of them are what do you call it, are loaded twice. You know what I'm saying? So we only have 3 loads on the board. You already know these 2 don't work. This one does work, right? But we're going to be traveling 200 miles that way, add 200 miles to our trip, only paying 500. Doesn't make sense. So we're not going to call that one up. Also, that one has over 9 hours in the system. More than likely it's gone. Just keep that in mind for future reference. But this is pretty much it. This is the parameters that you set before you search, right? It gives me an extended search right away. You can turn that off or on, but that is pretty much it. Again, this is not going to be perfect. I'm working live right now, so I'm also going to post this on YouTube. So if anybody has any comments, any tips for Angela, who is training as entry-level dispatcher, please go ahead and comment below. But yes, thanks for watching. Angela, let me know if you have any questions on this. Again, we're going to meet up over the weekend to discuss this in person. But yeah, definitely. Once you see this, let me know what you think. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Thank you.